We can trace the Michael Jordan vs. Reggie Miller rivalry all the way back to Reggie Miller's rookie season. Because after being drafted by the Indiana Pacers in the 1987 draft, Reggie would enter the NBA with a huge reputation as a trash talker. And it was because of this reputation that Reggie would quickly receive a rude welcome to the NBA moment. Because during the NBA preseason in 1987, Reggie would match up against Michael Jordan for the first time. And surprisingly, Reggie would actually start this game out well, as he scored in double figures in the first half while Jordan only had 4 points. It was at this time that Reggie's teammate, Chuck Person, told Reggie to start trash talking Jordan. And Reggie did just that, which was a huge mistake. So what's up guys, Mike here, and today we are going to talk about the time a rookie Reggie Miller had the audacity to talk trash to Michael Jordan, and then, well, as you are about to see, things did not turn out great for Reggie Miller. And going even further, this trash talk that Reggie would say to Mike during his rookie season would haunt Reggie Miller for the rest of his career. Mike would never forget it. Trust me guys, this is an awesome story. I think you're going to really enjoy it, so let's jump into it. So here we are. A rookie Reggie Miller just had a very good first half against Michael Jordan, and because of this, decides to trash talk him. In doing so, he forgot the #1 rule in the NBA at the time. Nobody, especially a rookie, should ever talk trash to Mike, because Michael would go on to score 40 points in the second half, absolutely dominating Reggie Miller. And then, as Reggie recalls,
so at half, I have 10 and he has 4 points. Into the game in the second half, he ended up with 44 and I ended up with 12. And as he's walking off, he's like, be sure and be careful, you never talk to Black Jesus like that.
So that was Reggie's introduction to the Black Jesus, and then he went on to say that he would never talk trash to Michael Jordan again, which was a lie, because as you can see on your screen right here, obviously at some point in time in the future, words were exchanged. We will get to that, but for now though, let's talk about the rivalry between Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller, which is one of the more underrated rivalries during the 1990s, because whenever these two went at it, you could be certain that there would be some form of drama. Looking at all of these matchups combined though, predictably, Michael Jordan outperformed Reggie throughout the 49 regular season matchups in which they squared off. Looking at this chart, you could see that Jordan would outperform Reggie in all 5 major categories, most notably outscoring him by over 10 points per game. This is to be expected, as Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, but there were some times where Reggie would more than hold his own against Mike. Take for example on March 2nd, 1991, when Reggie literally dominated Jordan. Now, headed into this game, the Bulls had a 41-14 record and were riding an 11-game win streak. However, Reggie would again outplay Jordan on both the offensive and defensive ends.
That kind of a game here in the first quarter.
Back outside, Miller the steal. 49 seconds, and Miller scores. Person takes up slack, a pitch out to Miller, around Pippen, the leaping leaner, what a shot! Open shot for Miller. Vern Fleming, open is Miller for 3.
When it was all said and done, Reggie would finish with 40 points while Jordan had 22. On top of this, Mike shot just 8 for 23 from the field and only scored 6 points in the second half, which was pretty remarkable, as the number of times Jordan got thoroughly dominated in a one-on-one matchup throughout his career were very slim, but Reggie Miller was able to do just that. Still though, Mike would win his first NBA championship that season, and that put him on top of the NBA world.
I bet eat my Wheaties.
Continuing with this rivalry though, one of the ugliest parts of this bitter feud would take place 2 seasons later on February 10th, 1993. Because remember how Reggie stated that he would never talk trash to Michael Jordan again? Well, that is proven wrong right here.
Here's Miller.
Reggie is audibly heard talking trash to Michael Jordan, and not much later, there is some physical contact when, on the other end,
1 on 2, 1 on 3, who couldn't get it? Now
out. Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller having a go at it. But more importantly, what in the world ignited this? Reggie Miller is irate.
Yes, in this fight, Michael would very visibly punch Reggie in the face. Yet, because he was Michael Jordan, it was Reggie Miller who was ejected and not Mike. At the time of this fight, the Pacers did have the momentum in this game, but with Reggie out, Jordan would go on to score 40 points and the Bulls would win by 11. But with all of this said, there was still more to come, because after this season, Mike would experience a short-lived retirement, and this gave Reggie and the Pacers a better chance at making the NBA Finals. However, in both the 94 and 95 playoffs, the Pacers would lose in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. By this time, Michael Jordan had returned, and of course, the Bulls would start their second three-peat. As for Reggie Miller and the Pacers, while Reggie had established himself as an NBA All-Star at this time, the Pacers would still lose in the first round of the 96 playoffs before missing the 97 playoffs entirely. That's not important though. What is important is the 98 season, where Indiana would bounce back, and with Larry Bird as their head coach now, the Pacers would finish the 1998 season with a 58-24 record. From there, they would advance to play the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, and this series would ultimately be a legendary showdown. Although Chicago was the obvious favorite to win the NBA championship, as the Pacers were not expected to even advance this far, and before the season had championship odds of plus 2,500. As we all know, in the playoffs, anything can happen, and with a Michael Jordan versus Reggie Miller rivalry, at the very least, fans knew they were going to get some very interesting games. Now, to give some context as to just how intense the feud between these two players had progressed to at this point, sometime before this series started, when Jordan was talking about playing Reggie to People magazine, he would state, quote, "It's like chicken fighting with a woman. His game is all this flopping type thing. He weighs only 185 pounds, so you have to be careful. Don't touch him or it's a foul." Which is kind of ironic, because Mike not only touched Reggie, but he punched him in the face at one point, and it was Reggie who was ejected from that game. But you get the point. By 1998, the Jordan versus Reggie Miller rivalry was at an all-time high. Now, as for the Eastern Conference Finals in 1998, the Bulls would win the first 2 games of the series before Indiana took Game 3 in a close 107-105 battle. That leads us to Game 4 on May 25th, 1998. In this game, the Bulls were only up by 1 with 4 seconds left when Scottie Pippen was at the free throw line to potentially push Chicago's lead to 3. However,
Derek McKee walks over and whispers something into his ear. Remember last year in the finals when Pippen walked up to Karl Malone as he prepared to shoot crucial free throws and whispered, "The mailman doesn't deliver on Sunday."
so as you just saw, Derek McKee whispered something into Scottie Pippen's ear. Pippen would go on to miss both free throws, and then this happened.
Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's there! 4/10 of a second.
Reggie Miller would push off of Michael Jordan, then knock down a wide open 3 to give Indiana a 96-94 lead with 0.4 seconds left. This gave Mike a chance to knock down a game winner, but he would miss, and the Pacers would improbably tie this series at 2 games apiece. From there, the Bulls would dominate Game 5, but let's now jump into Game 6, where we had a back and forth affair. And with the Pacers season on the line, an unlikely hero would rise to the occasion, because with the game tied 87-87 with 35 seconds remaining, Travis Best would hit a running floater to give Indiana the lead. From there, Jordan would knock down 2 free throws to tie the game, but Travis Best would then make another clutch play as he was fouled by Jordan, and then would knock down 2 free throws to give Indiana a 2-point lead with 8 seconds left. The ball was then in Michael's hands after these free throws, and again, he would not come up in the clutch as he would trip, lose the ball, and Indiana came away with this win. As for Reggie Miller, his team would actually carry him on this game, as Miller finished with one of the worst postseason games of his career, shooting just 2 for 13 from the field with 8 points. This brings us to Game 7 of the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, where the Pacers would actually come out strong and have a 27-19 lead after the first quarter. But with their potential of a second three-peat being threatened, Chicago would fight back rather quickly and halt Indiana's momentum, but still, this was a close game with the Bulls leading by 4 headed into the fourth quarter. It was in this fourth quarter where Indiana Indiana actually had plenty of chances to take momentum of this game, but in the end, they were not able to pull off one of the most shocking upsets of all time. And the thing is, Reggie Miller would actually score 0 points in this fourth quarter, which meant that in his biggest opportunity to outplay Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller would come up horribly short. Now, of course, after this win, the Bulls would go on to win the 1998 NBA Finals, and Jordan would retire, never again to play for the Bulls. As for what's happening today, well, even all of these years later, the bad blood between these two players still remains. I say this because Reggie says this would happen if the two saw each other today.
Like, let's say we went to dinner and then you see MJ.
I might punch him.
So yeah, I do not think this rivalry is close to over. And there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe if you're new. Also, make sure to turn post notifications on so you never miss a video. And of course, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day and cue that music. By the way, if you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are going to love watching. All you have to do is just click on either one of them on the screen right here. And other than that, guys, again, have a great day and peace.